Last year, our goal was to win, was to get there. This year, the expectation is to win the World Series.
Here, when we talk about making it to the World Series and winning the World Series, we mean it and we truly believe that we can get there and do that.
We know what it's like, we know what it feels like, but we know there's some unfinished business because we didn't win.
At Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, the New York Mets play the Kansas City Royals. Tuesday baseball is presented by Verizon. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Better Network. Verizon, better matters. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. By Long Island Railroad's Train to the Game, the easiest call at Citi Field. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Empire City Casino, Manhattan's closest casino. Game on. In 2015, the Mets reached heights that could have been unimagined when the season began. History was made. Reputations were cemented. But the Mets fell slightly short of their goal as the Kansas City Royals ousted them and won the World Series. Now the Mets are back in Kansas City for the rerun with already a game under their belts. Terry Collins hoping to take his team home for their home opener on Friday with a victory in Kansas City before the Mets are done with this series with the Royals as the Mets get the 2016 season going in earnest. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Kansas City. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you. Thrilled to be back with you for our 11th season of Mets baseball on SNY. The Mets already have a game under their belts, a 4-3 loss to the Royals Sunday night. Matt Harvey went 5 2/3 and took the loss, but if the Mets are going to be successful and reach the goals that the players are talking about, getting back to the postseason, maybe winning a World Series, it's all going to start with their vaunted pitching staff.
You know, guys, this is the greatest collection of arms I've ever seen in a starting rotation. There's some versatility there, but dominant, still the same. When you look at a ball club over the course of the year, they'll 1,450, 1,500 innings. If the Mets pitching staff can get 21 outs per game, maybe even a t-shirt that says 21 plus, they're going to put themselves in a position where they're completing 1,000 of those 1,450 innings. How do you win baseball games? You have your best players out there for the most part of the time, and that's what they need from their starting pitchers.
It starts there, and last year, remember, the first 4 months of the season, the Mets were dead last in the National League in runs scored, trying to support that pitching staff. Everything changed over the last 2 months and into October. So what do you have for 2016?
Well, 2016, the Mets, I think, have a better lineup, Gary. They've added Neil Walker, the 6-year veteran from out of Pittsburgh, a lifetime .272 hitter, a switch hitter, hit 23 home runs in his career 1 year, 16 last year for the Pirates. He's got some pop. The other side is shortstop. You got Asdrubal Cabrera, who had 9 seasons. He's a .267 hitter. He hit 15 home runs last year at Tampa. He's also a switch hitter. Gives Terry a lot of options, a lot of balance in that lineup. And, of course, the big signing in the offseason, the guy that really carried the Mets to the division flag and the National League title was Yoenis Cespedes, and it was very uncertain whether the Mets were going to sign him. He has hit over 30 home runs last year, drove in over 100 RBIs. He had his best season. There's your 3 additions that really make this lineup so much better.
So with all that, that means that the Mets, unlike past seasons under Terry Collins, are expected to get to the postseason and maybe even to the World Series.
Now, I love expectations, by the way. I think they're great. I tell my players all the time, we create our own expectations. And I go back to a couple years ago. We played pretty good at the end of the season a couple years ago. And look, people say you're getting ready to compete. Last year we set down some expectations. It was time to win. We won. Now, those expectations haven't changed. We've still got to win.
And when you're a team in a clubhouse where you've won the year before and fallen just short of your goal, getting to a World Series but not winning it, the expectations are high. And how does that change the mindset?
Well, they're pretty much in the same position as this Royal team was, this championship Royal team was 2 years ago. I mean, they fell short in the World Series. They came back with the eye of the tiger and won the crown last year. So the Mets have something to reach for, and I think that'll transcend any negativity or any pressure for being the front runner, Gary.
And what about these Royals who showed on Sunday night in the season opener just what they're capable of, really a reprise of what they did against the Mets in the World Series?
I know the Mets fans aren't going to want to hear this, but if you're a baseball person, you have to love watching this ball club. They pitch it, they catch it, and if they're ahead of you, it's almost like a Little League game. If you don't get in front of them after six innings, they're going to have you. So they play the game, what's that phrase, how you're supposed to play it, and they play it every night.
And the Royals you saw receiving their World Series rings this afternoon. The Mets not forced to watch that as they were at the pennant ceremony on Sunday. Noah Syndergaard will get his rematch against the Royals after he provided the Mets' only victory in last year's World Series. We'll talk more about Noah when we come back to Kansas City. Mets and Royals, all the action on SNY. Get to Citi Field this Saturday when the Mets take on the Phillies for the first fireworks night of 2016, presented by Coca-Cola. After the game, fans can enjoy an exciting fireworks show that will light up the sky. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Driver on the Majors presented by Cadillac. Jake Arrieta and Clayton Kershaw both picking up where they left off last year in their great Cy Young race. Arrieta dominating the Angels and Kershaw doing the same against the Padres. And Daniel Murphy hit a home run, had the game-winning double in the 10th as the Nationals came from behind to beat the Braves yesterday in their opener 4-3. Former Met Chris Young, who pitched so well against the Mets in a Game 1 relief appearance in the World Series, will get the start. It was to have been Ian Kennedy, but his hamstring will hold him out for a few extra days. And Noah Syndergaard goes to the mound for the Mets. Well, Syndergaard got the only Mets win in the World Series but he's remembered more for his first pitch of that Game 3. The message sent to Alcides Escobar, who had been so aggressive at the plate. Syndergaard finished that at bat with a strikeout, and the Mets won that Game 3 9-3. And Syndergaard drew a lot of attention for not only the pitch but his comments afterward.
You know what I loved about it is he said, hey, listen, if anyone has any issue with it, I'm 60 feet 6 inches away, something that you don't usually hear from 22-year-olds. But he's going to be booed heartily here before he takes the mound. But there's a maturity in Noah that we did not see a year ago, and it won't bother him in the bit.
For more on Noah, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, so many opinions about that purpose pitch that Syndergaard threw to Escobar, but the one that interests me the most is what Michael Kadire said following Game 3. He said that pitch right there, in a nutshell, is why Noah Syndergaard is going to win the Cy Young Award one day. What he meant by that, he said Noah Syndergaard threw that pitch without any intent to injure. He knew exactly where he was throwing it, and that is what separates him from a lot of other guys. He's someone that knew what he was doing, that knew the purpose behind that pitch, that was able to execute the pitch, that he knew would be scrutinized in a game of the highest magnitude while only having a few major league starts under his belt. And like you guys were talking about, we saw that attitude, the meet me 60 feet 6 inches away. That attitude has followed over, I should say, to this season. On Sunday night when the Royals were taking BP, Noah Syndergaard sitting top step of the dugout, almost saying, remember me, guys? I'm coming for you on Tuesday. Garrett?
Well, we'll see what tricks Noah has up his sleeve for his rematch with the Royals this afternoon. Mets try and get their first victory of 2016. First pitch is coming right up. Mets and Royals, Game 2 of 2016 after they played the final 5 in 2015.
Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup this afternoon. One change from opening night. Juan Lagares started game 1. Alejandro De Aza will get the game 2 start. That'll move Yoenis Cespedes over to center field. Michael Conforto, who had the best offensive day for the Mets on Sunday night, will be the DH for the second straight game. And 6'10" Chris Young on the mound for Kansas City.
You know, his excellence started with Seattle 2 seasons ago when he won 12 games. He won 11 last year. He had 34 appearances, only 18 starts, but he pitched well in the postseason also. See the Toyota numbers for Chris Young last season. Not a lot of hits to innings pitched. You're going to see some strikeouts. He doesn't walk too many people, and you'll see a lot of high fastballs that are swung through.
And we'll take a look at the Coors Light Kansas City Royal defense. Alex Gordon in left field, 4-time Gold Glover. Didn't get it last year. Missed around 60 games last season. Cost him the Gold Glove last year. New entry in the Gold Glove, Alcides Escobar's first Gold Glove. Eric Hosmer, 3 in a row for him. And of course, the hometown favorite here, Salvador Perez. He's got 3 Gold Gloves in a row also. So it's a very fine defensive squad.
It's so much a part of what the Kansas City Royals are, a team that is really antithetical to so many other trends in the game. They don't look to draw walks. They're not looking for 8 innings out of their starting pitchers. They rely on their bullpen. They put the ball in play. They play great defense, and they weren't expected to win last year, and they did. They're not expected to win this year. They've gotten off to a good start, and the Mets will try and get even this afternoon.
Well, I don't know how you can't pick a team that won the World Series, catches everything, pitches well enough, and in this game today, a rare team that does not strike out.
Curtis Granderson will lead things off. Curtis 1 for 4 on Sunday night, had a 9th inning hit that gave the Mets a chance. Chris Young's first pitch is a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway. Granderson right in Cespedes to try and get the Mets started on a beautiful afternoon. 70 degrees, partly cloudy skies, just a perfect day for baseball. And Granderson pulls one down the line, foul.
Well,
Nothing at 2.
Curtis last year had a career high 91 walks. Really kind of got comfortable in that leadoff position in the order, and really did a terrific job last year with a .364 on base percentage.
Had a rough April, and then after that really kicked it in gear. Had a tremendous season, and he wastes away the slider from Young.
Well, that's barely hanging in there, isn't it?
That ball looked like he swung at it and fouled it off, or if it was going to hit him if he didn't swing at it.
David Wright hitting second in the order, waiting on deck. And Granderson takes the slider down, 1 and 2. Chris Young was a Met for 2 years. He's really the same pitcher now that he was when he was with the Mets back in 2011. Guy who will give you 5 good innings on most occasions, work up and down in the strike zone.
He won 11 ball games last year for this club in 18 starts. The opposing hitters only hit .202 against Chris. Of course, 6'10", as Ronnie mentioned. Very tough to pick up for a hitter.
Yeah, hides the ball extremely well. It's got a great downward slope to it.
And even though his velocity really for most of his career has not gotten much above the mid-80s, he has a knack for making it hard to hit up in the zone. 3-2 coming, and Granderson just gets a piece of that fastball to stay alive.
You know what you notice when you watch the battery of Chris Young and Salvador Perez is that he is a big body catcher, but to give the good target sometimes gets all the way down on his knee to somehow make sure they can give a low enough target for Young.
8th pitch of the opening at bat, and Granderson stays in there. Chris Young came on in relief in game 1 of the World Series and pitched 3 hitless innings and wound up with the win. After the Royals tied it in the 9th, wound up winning in the 14th inning here at Kauffman Stadium and got themselves off to a good start. Granderson gets one in the air to center, and Lorenzo Cain has it lined up, battling the elements as he goes. Whoa. And the right fielder Fuentes has to come over and bail him out. It is not a particularly sunny day. The sun playing tricks with the clouds, but Kane had trouble with that all the way, and Fuentes, the rookie, made a nice play to come over and save him.
Well, all you kids out there, you never take anything for granted here. You're an outfielder. You've got to back up the guy that's got the play, and look what happens with the backup here. He's in the position to save the day. That could have been leadoff triple for the Mets.
Can you explain to me why, if the sun is not out right now, he would have that much trouble finding that ball?
Cloudy day, and maybe lost it in the clouds? RJ?
It's hard to imagine him losing that baseball.
David Wright swinging at the first pitch slider, 0-1.
It is extremely windy, and some outfielders, when they go after the baseball, they'll take a look at it. They'll run to the spot where they think it's going to be, and they look up, and occasionally they can't find it.
David had a rough night on Sunday night, went 0 for 4. Struck out in the 9th inning against Wade Davis, had some troubles in the field as well as he tries to negotiate the spinal stenosis that has changed the arc of his career.
Well, Chris Young, not that pitch, a little slider down the dirt, but the pitch prior, trying to rush a ball inside on David. This Kansas City Royals team likes to pitch him inside.
Well, the big strikeout in the 9th inning was a fastball in the inside corner, a beautiful pitch.
Well, the one David lamented was the second one, a cutter that was in the middle of the zone that he fouled back. He thought that was the pitch he should have handled to at least get the tying run home from third.
Hey, you foul off the pitches you should hit. You allow the pitcher to have another chance at you to make his pitch.
Cespedes on deck, 2-2 from Young. And he misses high with the slider, so full counts to each of the first 2 Met hitters. Mets didn't do much against the Royal starter on Sunday, Edison Volquez. 6 scoreless innings before giving way to the bullpen. And Wright takes a walk, and the Mets have their first base runner of the day.
It's interesting watching Volquez on Sunday night. I've never seen him throw 96 and 97 miles an hour so consistently.
Seemed as though in the postseason last year he was able to amp it up.
Yeah, he did. Pitching with a heavy heart also. Lost his father on the night of Game 1.
Well, here's Cespedes, who had a difficult beginning to his season Sunday night, dropping a line drive in left field and then striking out to end the game against Wade Davis. Cespedes 1 for 4 on opening night. Played left field on Sunday, center field today.
Just had his finest major league season last year. We all know what he did with the Mets last season. Hit 35 home runs, over 100 RBI, all career highs for Yoenis, but he'll always be remembered for that final 2 months that just propelled the Mets to the flag.
Pops one up into shallow left center. Gordon coming in to call. Kane had no idea where it was again.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Cain is just having a big time problem seeing the ball out in center field. This time the sun had come out before that pitch was thrown.
Well, you see right there, I can't see, and he's got glasses on.
Maybe the sun is behind the stadium that we can't see, and Cespedes should be taking account of that because that's where he's playing.
We got the sun out right now. Look at the shadows at home plate with the umpire and the hitter. They're definitely right behind us here, directly behind home plate.
Should be noted, Lorenzo Cain is a terrific outfielder, but he struggled getting to a ball at the fence on Sunday night and now struggling with the elements so far this afternoon. Here's Lucas Duda with 2 out and right at first.
If you go by square footage, the outfield here at Kauffman Stadium is the largest in all of baseball.
Well, they pushed the fences back to their original dimensions not too long ago. 387 in the gaps, 410 in center field.
David has to dive back in.
Still a far cry from the old Houston Astrodome, Ronnie. I believe it was 396 in the gaps at the old dome, and 418, 420 to dead central. That's a big ballpark.
See the shift on against Duda. Fouls off the slider. Interesting, Young throwing to first base in that last sequence. Normally you get a runner on first base against Young, you take off.
Yes.
Because he's the easiest pitcher in the major leagues to steal against, but that's negated somewhat by the guy who's behind the plate.
Still, I think well, it's hard to push it when you have a hitter up that is expected to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And I don't know how much base stealing David's going to do this year.
I would think zip.
1-2 to Duda.
That's what Chris Young likes to do. A big 6'10" height, throws over the top and gets down low. He likes to throw that high riser that tries to get the hitter to chase.
He's going to bounce a breaking pitch. He's one of those guys, he'll set you up with the high fastball and then bounce one in the dirt. You got to lay off.
1-2 coming. Right takes off. The throw by Perez is not a good one, and David does have a stolen base. Stole only 2 last year, and he has his first and the Mets' first stolen base of 2016.
And I have my first retraction this year.
Very nice. You said zip. You should have said very little. If he's going to give it to you, you have to take it. Boy, that's almost 6 steps maybe before the ball was even released.
Young has always had a problem holding runners on between his height and the slow mechanics to the plate. Duda checks his swing. He went around strike 3, and Young is able to work around a walk and a stolen base in the top of the first. Noah Syndergaard takes the mound when we come back. Phenomenal year of growth in his rookie season last year for Noah Syndergaard. Well, he's evolved from spring training to the World Series more than probably anybody we've ever seen.
Well, you see his Land Rover numbers there, 166 punch-outs for the youngster. He was heavily booed when he ran out to the mound this afternoon.
Yeah, they've got long memories here in Kansas City, and Alcides Escobar, who was the recipient of that buzz job, steps in. And Syndergaard starts away, and Escobar, as he always does, offers at the first pitch and fouls it off.
And away we go.
Escobar 1 for 4 on opening night. Had a tremendous league championship series last year, which got everybody's attention. Blue Jays could not get him out. Hit 478 in that series. And of course, he hit the first pitch inside the park home run to open game 1, which is what led to Syndergaard coming up with, well, a few tricks of his own. And a good curveball had him flailing, 1-2.
That was a big league hammer right there. That is a pitch we saw all during spring training. That hard slider.
2-2 to Escobar. And he lines one into right center, and that's going to find the gap. Escobar heading for second. He's going to take the turn and try for 3. Walker's relay throw far too late, and Escobar has a leadoff triple.
Look how he stays on top of this high fastball. Beautiful level swing and just drives it into the opposite gap. Those 17 stolen bases last year. He can run.
Cuts those bases nicely.
This is a ballpark that yields triples with those deep gaps. He had 5 triples last year. Now his first of this season, and a chance for Mike Moustakas to plate an early run.
David way off the line at third base.
Eric Hosmer took advantage of that on Sunday night by laying down a bunt that he beat out for a base hit.
But with the infield back, especially on the pull side, they're giving the Mets a run.
You see David there way off the line, and that Alcides Escobar can come way down the line as far as he would like.
99 from Syndergaard, 1-1 to Moustakas, who had a tremendous season last year. When you consider he hit .212 the year before and then was an all-star last year, hit .284 and 22 home runs.
82 RBIs in there too.
Ground ball to David Wright. What is he going to do?
Overpowering on those last 2 pitches, and Syndergaard ahead 1-2 in a spot where he needs a strikeout.
Well, Moustakas, no one had more RBIs from the 7th inning on than Moustakas. So very little, just 36 RBIs to be exact. Clutch hitter.
Syndergaard ahead of him 1-2. Struck him out. So Syndergaard, after giving up the leadoff triple, gets the first out he needs, pinning Escobar at third. Here's the Kansas City starting lineup. Same group as started on Sunday night, with Hosmer in the cleanup spot, Kendrys Morales, the Silver Slugger DH, and the rookie Raymond Fuentes down at the bottom.
Interesting to watch these Royals early on. If I was pitching, you know what it tells me? They're being very aggressive. And why wouldn't you be against a guy that throws this hard?
Well, that's their scouting report too.
Yep.
Here's Lorenzo Cain.
Well, there's the radar gun at 99. So the freight train is coming to town.
Only one pitcher in the majors threw more pitches of 95+ last year than Noah Syndergaard. That was Garrett Cole of the Pirates, who was in the big leagues the whole season.
Yes.
Whereas Syndergaard didn't come up till the second week in May. There's a breaking ball that trickles away from d'Arnaud. 2-0.
The one thing you'll see with Lorenzo Cain in this kind of situation, he is not afraid, if you throw him a fastball away, to shoot that ball to right field. Very good at it.
Cain hit just .227 in the World Series last year, but it was his leadoff walk against Matt Harvey that spun everything downhill for the Mets in Game 5. Syndergaard behind 2-0. And he shoots that one foul. Almost took out Eric Hosmer in the on-deck circle. Cain finished third in the MVP balloting in the American League last year, behind Josh Donaldson and Mike Trout. Cain hit .307, 16 homers, 72 driven in last year, 28 stolen bases, .361 on base percentage.
Donaldson just had a fabulous season. Like it.
2-2 to Cain.
Came inside there, Ronnie.
I love that everything away, then fastball in and down. Big cut by Cain. He is open to the fastball neck high upstairs. Good place to go with it right now.
Syndergaard sitting at 99 with his fastball in the first inning. 2-2. Check swing. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3.
Wow.
First base umpire Rob Drake making the call. And Syndergaard now has back-to-back strikeouts after the Escobar triple.
Well, the team that does not strike out, well, we're facing 99, and he was a little late on the 99-mile-an-hour fastball inside, so he tried to turn it up, and Syndergaard countered with the slider.
So Syndergaard 2/3 of the way home now, and now it's Hosmer. 3 for 4 on Sunday night.
Tough out.
Starts him off with a changeup, ball 1.
Hosmer, one of the 2 guys on this team that struck out over 100 times last year. He struck out 108. Kindred Morales was another one.
The Royals walked the fewest times and struck out the fewest times of any team in the American League last year. They are about putting the ball in play.
Remember in Sunday night's game, you had Cabrera playing right up the middle, so really had a vacant spot at shortstop. You can see Cabrera now at short has moved over a couple of steps, and I think that's a much better play against a guy who's throwing almost 100 miles an hour.
Well, Hosmer hit one the first time up exactly where Cabrera is playing right now for the first Royals run. 1-1 coming. And the fastball catches the corner at 100 miles an hour. 1-2.
Interesting how he went after Kane with fastballs, Ronnie, and Hosmer going after him early the first 2 pitches with off speed.
1-2 coming. Hosmer fouls it off.
And we'll take a quick look at your Metsy defense. That's always brought to you by Lexus. Diaza first start of the season in left field. Cespedes first in center field. And we've got the same cast of characters on the infield as opening day, and Darno is the back half of that battery.
Wind is blowing hard from right across toward left. Darno wants a conversation with Syndergaard before they throw another pitch to Hosmer.
Well, you got a couple of pitches a pitch to waste here. So what you're trying to do is take advantage of Hosmer, who's already swung at a couple sliders down in the dirt. You don't have to throw a strike here. You want something out of the strike zone. I still like fastball neck high with something on it.
1-2.
Good pitch. That's one right there. 100 mile an hour just off the plate. Think about that one. Tough out here. Clutch hitter.
Syndergaard trying to pitch himself out of a tight spot in the opening inning. He's 2/3 of the way home. 2-2 to Hosmer. Just missed, full count.
Boy, good at bat. Good battle between these two.
Kendrys Morales would be next. 20 pitches deep in this opening inning. Syndergaard's had to work hard after giving up the leadoff triple. Three-two. In there, strike 3 call. Syndergaard with 3 straight strikeouts after the leadoff triple by Escobar. Spectacular comeback in that first inning.
Fun.
You can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium for out-of-market games. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Teal Walker leads off the second for New York. Walker went 0 for 4 and drove in a run in his Mets debut on Sunday night. And Young pours one over for a strike, 1-1.
Beauty of baseball. One pitcher's throwing 15 miles an hour faster than the other pitcher.
It's about as great a disparity as you're going to get in a non-knuckleball game in velocity between the two pitchers.
Although this is throwing pretty good. 87, 88 at times.
When he first came up with Texas, he could throw in the 90s, but really since then he's been more of a mid-80s guy. And he really only throws two pitches, throws fastballs and sliders, but he works up and down so well.
Yes.
And he's got to be awfully tough to pick up.
Yes, because he got the big shoulder lift too. So he comes and he gets down low and almost an optical illusion. By that I mean with him getting down low and so tall and coming over the top, it gives the appearance, I would think, of the ball rising.
5 batters in, third full count already for Young, who threw 22 pitches in the first inning. And Walker goes down swinging on the slider. Second strikeout for Chris Young.
He's trying to keep pace.
Well, this is a good slider here. More of a slur from Chris Young.
So 1 out in the second, and now Michael Conforto is DHing for the second straight game. Conforto got on base 4 straight times on Sunday night, the youngest Met ever to do that on opening day. His first opening day in the majors.
2 for 2. Very impressive, Gary. You got to figure this. His first opening day, as you said, nervous jitters on the road, playing the Royals again, and they had 2 nice at-bats early, drawing walks. Very patient, very unfazed, like ahead of the game with the limited amount of experience that he's had in the big leagues. And I just love his swing, his discipline at the plate.
And he drives this one deep right center. Back goes Kane onto the warning track and reaches out and makes a spectacular catch. Well, he didn't have any trouble seeing that one. Lorenzo Cain, who had all sorts of problems with the elements on the first 2 fly balls hit in his neighborhood, this time makes an outstanding play.
Well, this ball's out at Citi Field. This is one of the biggest ballparks in the game, and a beautiful play by Cain. And when you have these big ballparks, you've got to have jackrabbits out in the outfield to run these balls down, and the Royals certainly have them.
Lorenzo Cain is 6'2", 200+ pounds, and he can fly.
That's what it took for Michael Conforto to be retired for the first time this season. It says Dribble Cabrera. He gets tied up. Cabrera 1 for 4 in his Mets debut Sunday night.
Well, that's what they do here in Kansas City. Chris Young was ready to back up third. No way did he think that ball was going to be caught.
Cain has not won a Gold Glove.
He should,
but he's in that neighborhood, and Royals have so much defensively that they can throw at you. Cabrera bounces one foul. This was just the opening game Sunday. Moustakas. Outstanding play on Darno. Hosmer throwing from his knees. As did Perez. And a nice tag by Infante as well to get Conforto.
Really, the only ball missed by the center fielder Cain was the Conforto double. I thought he was going to catch that one in left center field.
1-2 to Cabrera, the 2-time All-Star. For the new double play and shortstop combination. First time that a team that went to the World Series one year had a new double play combination the next year since the '05 Cardinals. They rolled out Mark Gresselanek and David Eckstein. Popped up in foul ground. Lots of room over there for Moustakas. And that retires the side with some help from Lorenzo Cain. Chris Young retires the Mets in order in the second. Still no score. Sunday to watch the Mets battle the Phillies at 1:10. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets rally towel. Plus, it's the first Family Sunday of 2016. All kids 12 and under can run the bases post-game in the Mr. Met Dash. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Packed house at Kauffman Stadium. Few Met fans have made their way amongst the sea of royal blue.
Beautiful day.
Noah Syndergaard faces Kendrys Morales to lead off the home second.
Morales had himself a 106 RBI season last year, 22 home runs.
Won the Silver Slugger as the top DH in the American League.
Well, he was an amazing hitter when he first came up with the Los Angeles Angels. And for you folks at home, he hit a home run. I think it was a game-winning grand slam of all things. Jumped on home plate and broke his leg. And it took him years to come back to where he did last season.
Lines one to center, right at Cespedes. It knuckles on him, but he stays with it for the first out. Well, he had one pretty good year in Seattle, but
that's right.
But it's really taken Morales getting to Kansas City to resurrect his career. And you know what? For about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after Morales got hurt, nobody did that anymore. Nobody jumped on home plate. And then they started doing it again, which they'll do until the next guy gets hurt. Here's Alex Gordon. Gordon just signed a new 4-year, $72 million contract. When he became a free agent at the end of last year, a lot of people thought he was going to go elsewhere.
Yes. Well, he's a Nebraska kid who grew up loving the Kansas City Royals. So he wanted to stay here. It just didn't seem as though they could afford him to stay here.
Got the biggest contract in Royal history.
Gordon is one of 3 players in the lineup today for the Royals who was a Royals first-round pick in the top 3 picks in the draft. Moustakas went second, Hosmer went third, and Gordon went second. When you're a bad team for a long time, you get those high draft picks, and then the question is, can you draft well and build with them?
Like Houston's done and other teams.
Syndergaard ahead 1-2.
Nationals did it with Strasburg, of course, and Harper, foundation of their team.
No. Dayton Moore is the general manager of the Royals. He grew up in the Braves organization, and it took him, you know, more than half a decade to figure it out and put together the talent. Broken bat, and Gordon fouls it off.
He got an amazing round of applause when they mentioned his name. He gave him the ring today. He had to be, you know, chuckling to himself, because 4 or 5 seasons ago you wouldn't have got one person to give him a standing ovation.
He was not the toast of the town. He was more like toast.
Toast.
And of course Ned Yost, the same thing. There were a couple of years ago when Ned Yost was being vilified in this town, and now he is he could run for mayor. There's Dayton Moore. 2-2 to Gordon with 1 out and nobody on. And Syndergaard throws a slider by him for his 4th strikeout.
Well, as you said, Gary, when 2006 he began here, and from the Braves. Also, Ned Yost was on the coaching staff for the Braves, so got some people that came over from that Atlanta organization.
So Ned running for mayor, and running for office isn't what it used to be, Gary.
Here's Salvador Perez with 2 out and nobody on. Royals won 95 games last year. They squeaked out their division series over the Astros. They ran ragged against the Blue Jays, and of course beating the Mets in 5 games to win the World Series a year after coming within 90 feet of winning the World Series against the Giants.
2 years ago they came back from 4 runs and John Lester and the A's, able to win that wild card game. They came 4 back from Houston and able to win that series.
You know, you go back to that wild card game against the A's 2 years ago. What always fascinated me about that, they were down 4 runs in the 8th. They got runners on base, and they're stealing bases, which nobody else in baseball would even consider doing in that kind of a situation. And it worked. 3-1 out of Perez.
There's no truth to the rumor that the sabermetric guys' heads were blowing up as they stole those bases.
Well, they'd like to put pressure on the defense.
Perez pops one up. Duda looking through the sunshine and has it for the 3rd out. So Syndergaard's retired 6 in a row. No score after 2 in Kansas City. Ronnie's new book, Game 7, 1986, breaking down one of baseball's great forgotten games during one of the most extraordinary seasons in Mets history. Just follow at SNYTV on Twitter and retweet the tweet about the sweepstakes for your chance to win. That's retweet the tweet to win the book.
Well, I really want to thank you guys and SNY for even promoting the book. It was a labor of love, very cathartic, and thanks, Keith. It's half my face. Failure. It's dedicated to my parents. It's not dedicated to the guys in the truck, but it's dedicated to my parents. And it really is about Game 7. Most people, if you're not diehard Mets fans, they think the World Series ended when the ball went between Buckner's legs. There was another game to be played. I didn't play particularly well, but number 17 over here got a nice hit against Bruce Hurst.
Oh, nice.
Backhanded by Chris Young, and he throws out Darno. Chris Young like a gazelle coming off the mound to make that play.
Well, he's got the arm span to get there, right?
More like a giraffe.
Well, that Game 7, guys were down 3-0, and I know that a lot of the book is caught up in you, I don't know, saying not so nice things about yourself.
Yeah, it's very cathartic about just talking about, listen, if you're a young kid and you're trying to make a putt to win the U.S. Open, or you're trying to make a basket to win the NBA playoffs, well, I had my chance. Game 7 of the World Series, I had a chance to pitch my team to victory. I was good in the first 2 games, not very good in the 7th game, and thank God we had another Hawaiian, Sid Fernandez, who came in, and he was the MVP of that game.
Yeah, but you pitched a big game for us in Boston.
Yeah,
a game we had to have.
De Aza lifts one into left center, and Gordon will track this one. And again, Kane had difficulty seeing the ball.
Well, it's extremely windy here, and you're right. Kane's saw the one to right center he was fine on, but anything that's real high, almost stadium high, has given him problems so far.
So Chris Young has retired 7 Mets in a row. 2 out and nobody on. Now Curtis Granderson. Granderson flied to right his first time up. It was actually a fly ball that Kane should have caught, but lost in the sun, and the right fielder Fuentes came over and bailed him out. But here is Chris Young again, working on a 3rd hitless inning.
The Kansas City Royals are one of those teams that do not play an extended shift against Curtis Granderson. Stock has taken the bunt away, and everyone else just shaded a bit.
Chris Young, now 36 years old, terrific college center back in his days at Princeton. Must have loved watching that basketball game last night.
What a basketball game that was.
One for the ages. I mean, Chris Jenkins will never have to buy another meal anywhere near the Villanova campus.
That's right.
And Marcus Page, who made maybe the greatest shot in the history of the tournament, will be forgotten.
And that Villanova section is very posh there. There's some nice restaurants.
2 high, ball 4. And Granderson's on with a 2-out walk. Second one given up by Young. Chris Young had a legitimate chance to play in the NBA.
Yes.
And chose baseball.
Said he was one of the best passing centers around. He could shoot. He was in that Princeton system of where the centers play a big part, not only in rebounding, but also coming out, handling the ball, and making backdoor passes.
The point center is really
Yes.
what he was in the Pete Carrill system at Princeton. Here's David Wright, who walked and then stole a base his first time up. See if Granderson tries to swipe one here against Young, who has such trouble holding runners. Curtis stole 11 last year.
Caught 6 times. Curtis, of course, career high way back in 2007 of 26. Only caught once with the Tigers.
He was hitting 20 triples a year.
You know, when you're playing every day in the middle of the summer and you're 35, 36 years old, you're less apt to be running. But, you know, with the Mets having 2 days off, plenty of time to recuperate, a guy who doesn't takes a long time to go to the plate, great time to steal.
Gets the slider over to right.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself with two straight off days. You don't get those in the big leagues. You only get them on the All-Star break.
I'm sure you'll find something to do.
Those 2 days off in a row would be really welcome for most of these players in late August.
You know, yeah, right.
Not early April. Right, pops it straight up. Harris should have room. And that retires the side. A walk and one left. 3 hitless innings for Chris Young. No score in the third. Score. Omar Infante will lead it off for the Royals, and we send it downstairs to Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, Royals did something really unique on Sunday with their first pitch. They actually started with the ball at Union Station, which is where they finished their parade last year. Had 800,000 people there in that infamous picture from last offseason. But they started with the ball and had 2,900 fans line up and play catch all the way to Kauffman Stadium. Took about 5 hours, and ultimately that was how they threw out the first pitch after relaying that baseball all the way down the way. Now this was a unique event for a number of reasons. This is the ball, by the way, right here, but it was meant as a fundraiser for the Urban Youth Academy that they're building here that should be ready in 2017, part of the RBI initiative with MLB, which is a great initiative getting inner city kids more familiar with the game of baseball, safe atmospheres, things of that nature. They were able to raise $140,000 towards their goal. And here's something else that was really cool and unexpected about the day. They expected it to be kind of a hokey, jokey type thing, but it turns out it became pretty emotional as fathers, grandfathers, just generations of baseball fans. Infante grounds out to first there. But generations of baseball fans showed up, bringing baseball and families closer together. It was a unique atmosphere that they didn't quite expect on Sunday.
Well, that's a nice story, and you know, being around here in Kansas City the last few days, you really get a sense for the love affair that has redeveloped now between this community and this team.
And a place that most people would think a Kansas City Chiefs football team town, but they ran that or played catch all the way here with that first pitch down 18th Street. 18th Street now has a blue line that's been painted all the way from the train station here to Kauffman Stadium. And guys, that's something that wouldn't happen in a lot of towns.
Yeah, not at all, Ron. And how about this? There is a microcomputer that they put into the baseball. If you made a donation, you were also allowed to put a 140 character or less quote or meaning for what baseball means to you. Ultimately, this ball is going to be housed at that Urban Youth Academy, and you can walk up and connect it to Wi-Fi, and you'll be able to see everybody that donated what they had to say about the sport of baseball and what it means to them.
It's a nice connection between baseball tradition and modern technology that can bring people even closer together.
The distance for that trip, 20 miles from the train station out here to Kauffman Stadium. That would probably take about 2.5 hours in New York City to do that.
Raymond Fuentes batting with 1 out and nobody on. 1-2 from Syndergaard, and he struck him out. That's 5 strikeouts for Syndergaard, first time through the batting order.
Well, Syndergaard's one of those guys that he doesn't have to throw strike, Ronnie, with his changeup, which he gets a little sink, and that hard slider.
You know, when he's really good, you know, guys, when you used to play in Little League, and there was always that kid that was oversized that used to strike out everybody. That's what he looks like sometimes when he's facing these major league hitters.
Well, he's also hasn't learned yet to throw that high fastball up in the chin and eyes of a hitter to get him to chase the high one. So he's got 3 pitches that he can get out, swings and misses, without throwing a strike.
There's that Cides Escobar, who got a measure of revenge by driving a triple to right center his first time up. Syndergaard then proceeded to strike out the next 3 hitters.
Didn't swing, Gary, on that first pitch.
Well, it's a curveball off the plate. I mean, Escobar did walk 26 times last year. It's not like he never walks.
26.
Syndergaard gets ahead of him 1-2.
Escobar, one of those players that came over to Kansas City in the Greinke trade because they thought that Gene Segura was going to be their shortstop of the future. Gene now is in Arizona.
Royals got Escobar. They also got Lorenzo Cain in that same deal for Greinke, who, by the way, it now turns out was under the weather last night, which is why he got beat up by the Colorado Rockies. So they say. Worst start for Greinke in 4 years. Give up 7 runs.
Just hang with him. I mean, that's how it goes. If you're out in the field, you can't say that you're sick. It's professional sports. Come on now.
See, Sonny Gray for the A's, he had food poisoning. He just begged off, didn't pitch. Slowly hit. Right has to charge. Has to make the quick toss and on target to get Escobar to retire the side. Noah Syndergaard's retired 9 in a row. And when we come back for the 4th inning, the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, will join us in the booth. And Royals no score, and we are just thrilled to have the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, here with us in town for the Royals ring ceremony today. Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You know, you have so much planning that goes into a season. It's got to be so gratifying for you just to get out here this opening week of the season and watch some baseball.
It really is. You know, I was saying about a week and a half ago, I started to get the itch. Like, you know, let's go. You know, it's time now. Let's do this. So I've been to Tampa already for their opener, and unfortunately got rained out in New York yesterday, but glad to be here in this beautiful sunshine.
Commissioner, one of the challenges baseball's had over many decades now is balancing the tradition of the game that's developed over the last century and a half, and still at the same time try and keep up with the times and appeal to a younger demographic. And Bryce Harper, one of your young stars, made some comments during spring training about that issue. How much of that can emanate from the commissioner's office, and how much is that just a matter of the game evolving organically?
Well, I think it's a question of creating the right atmosphere. And you know, I've said this publicly, I'll say it again. I think Bryce probably had more right than wrong in his comments. Just like when Keith played, within the rules of the game, the players are going to define what's acceptable on the field. We got a great young generation of stars coming into the game now, and they're going to define what's appropriate and what's not appropriate while they're playing the game, and I know they're going to make good decisions in that regard.
You know, Rob, I know a lot of changes have been made, and I was wondering the part you played in. Right here at Kauffman Stadium, they have the netting now that runs all the way down the end of the dugout as you're trying to protect the fans. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a great change. I think the clubs have, again, it's about balance. I think the clubs have recognized that fan safety is our first priority, but they made the changes in a way that minimized the disruption of the fan experience. I think this netting is a great example. You look at how fine this netting is, it's much less obtrusive.
Commissioner, you just had the big games over in Havana and Cuba. You have some advent of Cuban players in Major League Baseball, which I think is only going to enhance Major League Baseball, increase the talent pool. What I'm concerned about a little bit is what are your views as far as what are you baseball trying to do to get more African American players in the game? There has been a little bit of a downslide there.
Right. We actually have worked very hard in recent years through our urban youth academies, the RBI programs, to try to make sure that we're making baseball available in underserved areas, particularly inner city areas. And fortunately, we're starting to see some fruits of those efforts. 25% of our first round last year in the draft was African American, and we haven't had a number like that literally in decades.
And it's probably not the way you look at this, but you'd have to think that the concerns that football has right now about concussions have to play in baseball's favor in terms of getting more youth to turn toward baseball.
Well, I think that baseball is a really safe game, that if you're fortunate enough to be able to play at this level, the economic opportunities are just amazing, what you can make in the game now. And I think it should be attractive to young people. We need to be competitive in that space for the best athlete. Make sure that baseball's getting its share of the best athletes.
Last year, you put a lot of thought into the pace of games, something that I know all of us want to get to a better place, where you don't have as many mound visits or other things that turn the game into 3+ hours. You want it 3 hours or maybe less. What do you think of the pace of play initiatives you used this year?
Well, I think it's important that we follow each and every year with a set of initiatives that focus players on the issue again. The two for this year is we're shortening the inning breaks. The clock's a little quicker this year, and we are going to focus on mound visits, just the length of them, to make sure that we're moving things along the best possible. It's a bargaining year, and we may have even more aggressive stuff coming next year.
When you're trying to improve pace of play and you have replays that stop play, is there anything you can do to streamline that process so that it doesn't have a deleterious effect on pace?
I'll tell you the trick there, Gary.
As that ball's hit down the line, a 2-run homer for Neil Walker, the Mets' first home run of the season, and they jump out to a 2-0 lead. So Walker's first home run as a Met gives the Mets the lead here in the 4th inning.
Looks like a down and in breaking ball. See if I'm correct here. No, fastball, belt high, right down the pipe and crushed.
I think the trick on replay in terms of making it as quick as possible is technology. You know, it's the answer to every question now, right? And for example, we are continuing to push for the installation of super slow motion cameras at first base. And I watch those replays every day, see what people are looking at, and the super slow motion camera just makes it so much easier for the folks in New York to do the replay review and do it quickly and get it right.
Do you feel, Commissioner, that there's maybe, with all the rule changes now, we've seen so many over the last couple of years, that there's might be too much micromanaging and not letting the players play, taking what I feel the game and the calls out of the umpire's hands? What's your feeling on that?
Well, look, I think that it's important to allow the umpires to control the game. I mean, they are, after all, in charge once people are on the field. And I think that we will be careful about rule changes. The ones that we've undertaken, the two big ones recently, in terms of the catcher rule and the slide rule at second base, were really safety driven. And I just think that it's incumbent upon us to make the game as safe as possible for the players. But I certainly don't want to expand that into altering unnecessarily the way that the game's played on the field.
You know, Rob, I think you put a lot of thought into the neighborhood play, and of course the guys at second base not hurting the players like the Utley, of course, and Tejada slide. But now keeping the guy on the bag, the neighborhood play, it's almost like you're putting two people at the same place a lot, and I feel it could increase them being in the same spot.
Yeah, you know, we looked really hard at the neighborhood play. We had 7, I think, last year where somebody was actually off the bag. It's a very small number of plays. And our feeling was that with the rule about how you have to slide, that the combination of those two changes, on balance, we were going to have a more safe situation around the bag for the player.
When you have an initiative like that, and we had that a few years ago with the home plate rules on trying to reduce the collisions there, as Conforto grounds out for the second out. What's the process like? How do you start that? Who has input? How does who guards against unintended consequences? How does that whole process work?
Well, it starts really with the playing rules committee. Those issues come from the bottom up. I didn't play the game, and the one thing that I'll never do is start an initiative on a playing rule issue. I think it's more my job to make sure at the end of the process that we're in the right place. And then, of course, there's always extensive discussions with the Players Association. I'm probably a little different than some of my predecessors in this regard. I think that the players' input on these issues is absolutely crucial. They are a check on our good intentions in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. And then ultimately, when the rule changes come together, there is a group in New York led by Joe Torre that spends a lot of time trying to think through the consequences, intended and unintended, of what's being proposed. And once that process is complete, it then goes to ownership for a vote.
You know, one of the things I've noticed about you, Commissioner, is that you do spend a lot of time with the players. You enjoy being around the players. It's nice to see.
Well, look, the side of the business I came up, was all about building relationships with the players. I'm actually a believer in the collective bargaining process. I think it can be a good thing for an industry, particularly an industry like ours, where the players are the game, and we've worked very hard to make our relationship with the MLBPA a productive one.
Herrera pulls one through the hole, and he's got himself a 2-out hit. Keith mentioned the trip to Cuba this year, and with the opening up of relations between the U.S. and Cuba, do you see the process becoming more streamlined over the next few years for players to make their way here?
I do. I think that everybody recognizes, and when I say everybody, I mean the Cuban government, our government, and certainly us, that the situation that we have now is untenable. Until you go to Cuba and you see the island and what the ocean is like around it, you don't have a full appreciation for how dangerous it is to try to get off that island in a boat. And I'm hopeful that among the three groups and the Players Association, we'll be able to get to a situation where players can sign with Major League Baseball and come and go to Cuba freely.
Well, we're taught in this business never to ask a question with 2 outs, but I'm going to try one more.
Okay.
And what's the most gratifying thing so far in being in this job?
I think the thing that I have taken the most satisfaction from is the traction that we've gotten on our youth initiatives. People seem to want baseball to engage in that space. We've gotten some great people, including Cal Ripken, who have volunteered to come forward and help us with these efforts. A lot of players, active and former, have engaged, and I think that's just a great sign for the game.
And how do you see the future of the game ahead in your tenure?
I think that you're going to see baseball is going to be a growth sport. I think that the technology that we have will continue to increase the popularity of our game in a changing media environment. I think over the relatively long haul, it's a growth business. You'll see the business expand. I think there will be a team that plays every day outside of the United States and Canada.
I know that you look at other sports and things that they've done. You've taken on a domestic violence, and it's a difficult issue to deal with. But I know you're trying to kind of be proactive and get in front of it.
Yeah, we tried to get in front of that issue, have a policy in place. We've worked our way through 2 cases with different results. You know, the Chapman one on the one hand and the Puig one on the other. We have the Jose Reyes matter left to resolve. But again, we bargained a policy with the players so that our players were with us on this topic, and I think that will help us make good decisions going forward.
And I would think that from a Major League Baseball standpoint, it's got to be awfully gratifying when a small market team like Kansas City can have the success that they've had.
Yeah, it is really important. I think it says that we have an economic system that allows all of our 30 markets to compete. And, you know, when you look at the engagement, you know, you guys were here in the fall. You saw it then. You see it again now. Look at the fan engagement here. You know, it's really important that teams in markets like this have an opportunity to compete.
We're visiting with Commissioner Rob Manfred, who is in town as the Royals received their World Series rings today. And how many ballparks have you been in already this season?
Well, I've been to Tampa and here so far. I'm going to be at Citi Field on Friday. Get to see the Mets twice this week. I don't want to miss their home opener. I was supposed to have been at Yankee Stadium yesterday, but you guys weren't there. It was not the best New York day yesterday. Let me put it to you that way.
Well, make sure you have your big coat because it's not supposed to be so nice in Citi Field also on Friday.
Yeah. So I understand. You know, it's funny. Of course, the week before we start, we have 70-degree days in New York. It just never fails. But, you know, I'm sure that they will persevere. I know the Yankees played today in about 42 degrees.
Two and two to Darno with 2 out. And Travis fouls another one away.
Would you ever foresee, I'm sorry, Ronnie, because of the 3 tiers of playoffs and going into October and November in World Series, would you ever foresee going back to a 154-game schedule?
You know, I think for the first couple of decades I worked in the game, I would have told you that that was a hard no. I think that there is some interest in that topic, certainly some player interest, and it's related to all sorts of changes that have gone on in the game, drug testing, things like that have altered the way, you know, our schedule, the Sunday night games, all that just makes it harder on players. I think the difficulty with it is this: it's a huge economic issue. I mean, you guys know, you know, 4 games in New York, big gates and broadcasts, a lot of money involved there.
Certainly. Well, don't make any robots or become analysts because Keith and I really need this job.
You can count on that, okay? You can count on that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
It's great to be with all of you. All right,
thanks so much for coming by. It was great to have you. Commissioner Rob Manfred joining us. Neil Walker's 2-run homer puts the Mets up 2-0. All of Mets baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. Noah Syndergaard now pitching with the lead for the first time. Faces Mike Moustakas. Neil Walker with his first home run as a Met and the Mets' first home run of the season, giving Syndergaard a 2-0 edge. Moustakas struck out his first time up, and Noah misses with the changeup, 2-0. Syndergaard gave up a leadoff triple to Alcides Escobar in the first inning, and since then has retired 9 in a row. Sat through a long half inning. Chris Young threw 29 pitches in that top of the fourth, which was good because it gave us plenty of time to have a very meaningful conversation with the commissioner. He's a joy.
I've spent a lot of time around him. You can talk to him about so many different subjects. He's just such an intelligent man. So great to have him in the booth. Hopefully have him again.
Moustakas breaks his bat. Duda handles the hop. Syndergaard gets over. 1 away.
By the way, Neil Walker hopes he comes in the booth again too.
Well, it's nice to get the first one out of the way for your new team. It's quite an adjustment this year for Neil, who still, by the way, has a Pittsburgh Penguins travel kit in his locker. But he hasn't shed all of his Pittsburgh.
We can give him a nod on that one. He's a Pittsburgher, born and raised.
Here's Lorenzo Cain, who struck out his first time up.
So probably his heyday as a kid. What was his name? Mario Lemieux or something?
Yeah, Neil apparently is pretty close with Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux. So. Why not? I mean, Neil was Pittsburgh born and raised, first-round draft pick by the Pirates, starring for his hometown team.
Dad played for him.
Nice. 88-mile-an-hour changeup running with sink. That's some fastballs for some guys.
One and two to Cain. Let's check in with Steve.
Gary, you mentioned the Neil Walker Penguins connection, and it was pretty funny. When I first met him this year, we were talking about the Rangers and the Penguins, and he's such a friendly, disarming guy, you almost forget he's a professional athlete. I pointed out something about the Penguins, and that's when he said, oh, yeah. I was actually recently talking to Sid and Mario about that. Put me right back in my place.
If you didn't know it, Steve Gelbs is probably the world's biggest New York Rangers fan.
Oh, he is. So he's really got to kind of beat crow to go over there and talk to Neil.
Two coming. Cain watches low, 3-2. Syndergaard has struck out 5, walked none. Last year as a rookie, 31 walks, 166 strikeouts. For a guy throwing 99. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Well, what makes these guys so attractive to watch is that you have a 2-0 game, 3-2 count, and he throws a changeup to Lorenzo Cain. It's just stuff you don't see. Most pitchers in this case with a 2-run lead would go right after the hitter.
Popped up. Duda tracking it. No sunglasses necessary. 2 out.
That's 11 in a row, Gary.
Well, so he had a different trick up his sleeve for this game. Give up the leadoff triple, get everybody else out.
That's right.
Here's Hosmer, who went down looking to end that first inning comeback for Syndergaard after he had a runner at third and nobody out and struck out 3 Royals in a row. It's hard to do that against anybody, but particularly against this team.
Yes.
That does not tend to strike out.
Well, don't forget, Syndergaard had plus 150 innings pitched last year and only 30 walks. That's astounding.
Astounding for a young pitcher.
And then this spring, 1 walk, 20 strikeouts. David Wright had him played perfectly, handles an offbeat hop. and throws out Hosmer to end the inning, and that's 12 in a row retired by Noah Syndergaard after 4 2-0 Mets.
The New York Mets are champions of the National League.
No one thought this club was going anywhere.
Talk of them going to the playoffs would have been laughable.
You have no idea what's going to happen on any given day. That's the fun of it, isn't it? Isn't that why we keep watching baseball?
Tonight it was 5 days that brought trades, tears, and redemption to Queens. Relive that crazy week in July that altered the course of the Mets season on 5 days in Flushing tonight after the postgame show only on SNY. So I showed you a little bit of a clip from that show. Takes you from the trade that wasn't, through the rainy day,
Justin Upton day,
through Wilmer Flores night.
I saw it. Did you see it, right?
I did.
It is fantastic.
Alejandro De Aza takes a strike, 2-1. Cespedes' arrival, the Mets sweep of the Nationals from the Wednesday through the Sunday. The end of July and the first 2 days of August.
I'm going to say emotional, but that's not quite the word. But when Wilmer hit his walk-off against the Nationals and he ran to home plate and picked at his jersey, picked at the Mets on the front, that was one of the coolest moments on the ball field last year.
De Aza lifts one to shallow left center. Kane, and he comes in to grab it. One away. The way the afternoon has gone for Lorenzo Kane, have to hesitate every time he moves toward a baseball. Try and figure out whether he can actually see it. It's been a difficult day for him, although he made the one spectacular play in deep right center to Rob Conforto.
Well, he covers more ground out there since when maybe Willie Wilson played in the 70s and 80s.
Good call. Willie Wilson, remembered by Phillies fans because he made the final out of that 1980 World Series.
Did he strike out 11 times in that World Series against the Phillies?
Randerson drills one down at the right field corner. That ball is off the fence and just foul. Just barely missed an extra base hit.
Just a little bit too quick.
Just hit outside that yellow line on the outfield fence.
The way it's curved here, you've got to be hustling because that ball can hit at certain angles and it could go where you could have an inside the park home run.
You've got an inexperienced player out there in right field. Last year they had Alex Rios patrolling right field. He was a free agent at the end of the year, and he still is without a job. See that wind blowing from right across toward left as it has been all day. Granderson gets tied in a knot and strikes out on the slider. Strikeout number 3 for Chris Young. 2 down in the inning.
Yes, he did. I guess, well, I don't know what the terminology would be, but I see the wrist breaking there, we used to say in our day, Ron.
Young at 86 pitches after throwing 29 in the previous inning, looking for a little quicker go around this time as he faces right with 2 out and nobody on.
He's the epitome of a 100-pitch pitcher. You're not going to see him go much more over that.
Well, he made 1 start against the Mets in the World Series last year. That was in Game 4. He went 4 innings in that one.
Just say 3 innings of hitless relief in the first game.
He was really the unsung hero of that first game victory. Stroked into right center by right. Over comes Fuentes. He'll have to play it on the hop. And David's got a base hit. His first hit of the season.
Always good to get the first one out of the way. Little slider down and away. Good spot. Good hitting by Dave. A little more of the leg kick now. You see what David's incorporated that into his swing.
Dave Island, the Kansas City pitching coach, just went to the mound and he was well within the 30-second limit.
Well, he did it for a couple of reasons. One, to go out there to speak, of course, to Chris Young, but he did it also to get Danny Duffy ready in the bullpen. Duffy, who's gone from relieving to pitching out of the bullpen, needs a little more time than most.
But you really can't kill as much time as you used to be able to if you're the pitching coach, because they start timing you now from the point you leave the dugout. So by the time you get to the mound, you only have about 15 seconds.
Pitching coaches all around the league have lost an average of 7 pounds.
I think I don't like the rule. I think there should be 30 seconds once he gets to the mound. If you want, a lot of pitching coaches, Warthen is not one of them. Dan trots out, but you make the pitching coach, okay, you got to trot out to the mound and then you have 30 seconds and you got to get trot off.
There goes Wright throwing from his knees. Perez can't get him, and David has his second stolen base of the day. So Wright, who certainly knows Chris Young as well as anybody from having played with him, knew that he could take some liberties, and he's stolen 2 bags.
Well, when you're a veteran, you know the league, you've been around, and David forces me into another retraction.
Interesting, with the base open, 2-0 count. Let's see if Cespedes gets a breaking ball here. Even with Lucas Duda, a left-handed hitter, on deck, Cespedes is the more dangerous hitter.
Cespedes walked on 4 pitches his last time up and then scored in front of the Walker home run.
That's David's 195th stolen base of his career.
And he went around on the high fastball, 2-1. Certainly going to see a steady diet of that.
He's going to see a 2-1 breaking ball here. I mean, I don't know if you can sit on it. Some great hitters can do that.
Two and 2.
Boy, if I could have only a hit, because I can really guess well.
Well, you knew what you would throw. Right at second with 2 down. Young up over 90 pitches. This will probably be his last inning, come what may. And Cespedes chases another breaking ball. And Young works around trouble in the 5th. That's his 4th strikeout. Halfway through, 2-0 New York. Sunday night, the Royals raised their World Championship banner right next to their 1985 flag. Look at that sea of humanity in downtown Kansas City on their parade in November.
30 years since their one and only at that point World Series title. That was back in, what, 85 when they beat the Cardinals, came back down from 3-1 to defeat the Cardinals.
Wouldn't it be something if they did it on their 30th year, as David Wright changes positions with one strike here, and the Mets were able to do it too? That'd be cool.
Their 30th anniversary of their last title. Andres Morales hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to center field. But Syndergaard has retired 12 straight hitters since a leadoff triple in the first inning. Alex Gordon on deck, then Salvador Perez for the Royals in the fifth. And Morales hits one out to center. Late start for Cespedes, back to the track, and it's over his head. Morales heads for second, and he's in standing with a leadoff double. Cespedes did not get a good break on that ball going back, and his outfield troubles at Kauffman Stadium continue.
I think off the bat, Keith, he felt like he had this one, but it carried.
Well, he stutter step. He just, the ball hit right at you is always the most difficult one to negotiate. And that little bit of hesitation, he wasn't sure whether it was how good it was hit, was the difference him not getting there.
He's a really good outfielder for whom Kauffman Stadium is the Bermuda Triangle. The inside the park home run last year in the World Series, the dropped line drive on opening night. Now a ball hit over his head. There's Alex Gordon tying right at the plate in a 2-0 game. He fouls off the 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
That was the end of his 12 consecutive retired batters, Gare.
Nothing lasts forever.
Start a new one.
Only 64 pitches for Syndergaard. Chris Young, who you'd have to think is done, 93 pitches through 5. But where did we start the conversation this afternoon? It was about the Mets starters and the need for them to get 21 outs.
I'm telling you, get the t-shirts. Who's ever making t-shirts out there, 21 plus. These guys can get through 7 innings, get 21 outs. It's going to put the Mets in a great position night in and night out to win a ball game.
And that works out also in terms of how much you want to use these guys over the course of the season. Here's the 0-2. And Gordon lays off the slider, 1 and 2.
You're right, 30 starts each, 7 innings or more gets you to around that 210, 215 mark, which is a good mark.
And it used to be you talk about 35 starts a year, but now with the Mets ready to go to a 6-man rotation on occasions, fill in here and there, you can keep everybody to 30 and it works out. High fastball gets Gordon, and that's strikeout number 6 for Syndergaard.
That's what I want to see Syndergaard do more of. Slider down in the dirt, 0-2, then go up the ladder with that 99, 100-mile-an-hour gas. Not going to catch up to it. When he learns to do that, this just lights, already lights out. Double lights out.
I didn't realize on that replay the shadows have really come into play.
Yeah, about halfway between the mound and home plate. Although it's not a bright sunny day, there's certainly enough sun to cast that kind of shadow. Here's Salvador Perez, and he takes a slider for a strike. Remember when we first saw Syndergaard last year? He did not have that pitch. And he only threw his slider about 2% of the time last year during the regular season. Now it's become a mainstay for him.
I always think of Danny Worth, and he's good at a lot of things. But one of the things he's really good at is teaching the slider and really good at teaching the changeup. Those 2 pitches. Last year we saw more of kind of a slurve curveball from Syndergaard, his first start in Chicago, if you remember. I wouldn't discard that curveball, especially against left-handed hitters.
And he threw it early in this game, but much more reliant on that slider as his breaking ball today. Slowly hit, tough play for anybody, but it trickles foul, and Darno wisely gives it an extra boost.
Well, that was nothing but trouble right there if that ball stays fair.
Why I like that slider, Gary, is that on his curveball, he tends to slow his motion down a little bit, so he does telegraph it a little. That slider, he does not telegraph it at all. It looks like the same arm action as his fastball. That's why it's confusing to the hitters.
One-two coming. And Perez lays off the curveball and stopped it in time, 2-2.
Well, with one out, that is mandatory that the catcher's got to be able to block that ball, and Darno with a great job. If you're the outfield, if there's a play to you, Kendrys Morales does not run well. So you have to make sure you charge. You could have a play at the plate.
2-2 to Perez. Yanks one foul. Salvador Perez, last year's World Series MVP. It was hard to pick an MVP in that series.
It was MVP and wasn't even catching for the final out.
Hit .364 in the World Series last year. By the way, you might have noted the Royals uniforms with the gold numbers. The World Championship uniforms, that's only for this series. That gold number on the back. Go back to royal blue after this. Just kind of rubbing the Mets' noses in it a little bit. It's not like the old New York Giants who wore the World Champions uniforms.
Listen, it's someone
back in John McGraw's day.
Someone in a suit and marketing came up with the idea. That's why it's here.
Precisely. I saw them in the windows of the sports paraphernalia stores.
Again, the 2-2. And he struck him out with the slider. Back-to-back strikeouts for Syndergaard. This is a theme. Gave up a leadoff triple in the first, struck out 3 in a row, a leadoff double here in the 5th, and now back-to-back strikeouts.
Now, it's what you like to see in a pitcher.
Well, that's as good a slider as I've seen in a while. Keith rolled his eyes up here like, ooh, that's tough to
I've
hit.
seen, I don't like to say unhittable, but with Syndergaard, I see a lot of pitches that are unhittable.
Here's Omar Infante, who grounded out to short his first time up. Fastball crackles in for a strike.
Nope. 99 miles an hour, 74 pitches in. That's a big old horse out there.
Darno plays all season injury-free. I'm going to have to ask Steve Gells to ask him how many gloves he goes through this year.
He told me in spring training that these guys are easy to catch. That nobody's got a particularly heavy ball that's going to, make his thumb particularly sore.
Oh.
But he certainly catches more heat than any other backstop in the game.
Oh,
that slider is just nasty. The Royals struck out the fewest times of any team in the American League last year. Already fanned 7 times today against Syndergaard in 4 2/3 innings. And Infante trying to hit that ball coming out of the shadows. 0-2. Little tapper. Noah off the mound. Easy play. Side retired. Second inning today that Syndergaard's given up a leadoff extra base hit and gotten through it with no problem. Still 2-0. Also homered for the Red Sox today. There's today's starters, brought to you by People's United Bank. Noah Syndergaard has been brilliant. 2 hits through 5, twice able to work around leadoff extra base hits. Chris Young done after 5, and Danny Duffy comes on in relief.
You see his record 7-8, all of that as a starter in 24 games. They took him out of the rotation with 2 weeks to go in the season because they knew they would need him in the postseason out of the bullpen, and he did not allow a run.
Much as the Mets did with Jonathan Neese late in the season last year to prep him for a postseason role in the pen. John makes his debut for the Pirates tonight against the Cardinals.
Silent John is what I call him. Okay.
Not yet. Of course, Neese traded to Pittsburgh in the deal that brought Neil Walker to the Mets. Walker has paid off today with a 2-run homer, accounting for the game's only runs. And the slider from Duffy misses 2-1.
Well, this is a good managerial move by Ned Yost here. Why? Well, Chris Young is a guy who doesn't throw more than 85 to 90 pitches. He was at that mark, and you can bring Duffy in to face Duda, turn Walker around to the right side, which isn't his strength, and the left-handed Conforto after that.
Duda pulls one, and Hosmer able to scoop it.
Hosmer's got sure hands over there. 3-time Gold Glover, 3 consecutive Gold Gloves.
He's one of the best of the game.
Sure-handed, very nice.
Watch how he walks this over and makes sure that the distance between him and the pitcher is shorter. Makes a nice toss.
He's won the last 3 Gold Gloves at first base in the American League. First player to do that since Rafael Palmeiro.
Lefties look so much better when they're fielding at first base, don't they? They just look natural.
Agreed.
Well, here's Walker, who hooked one down the right field line for a home run his last time up. Now turns around about right-handed, and he flies this one out to right center. And Fuentes, looking through the sunglasses, has it for the second out. So 2 out and nobody out. Let's check out today's Verizon trivia question. Michael Conforto on base 4 times Sunday night. Who was the last Met to reach base 4 times on opening day?
Very good. I mean, not very good, like, I don't know, but very good questions.
Right. Don't go to Google and find out either.
Do you know the answer?
I don't.
I don't either. Conforto's been retired twice today. It took a great effort by Lorenzo Cain to get him first time up as he crashed into the fence in right center and pulled in his drive, and he grounded out in the 4th.
So Conforto gets his first at bat of the season against a left-hander.
The Mets will not see a left-hand starter the first week of the season. The Phillies have an all right-handed rotation. That's golfed in the air to left, and Gordon over toward the line and gets to it to retire the side. Easy inning for Danny Duffy. Retires the Mets in order on 7 pitches. Syndergaard heads back to the mound for the bottom of the 6th, the 2-0 lead. This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium for out-of-market games. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Raymond Fuentes leading off in the bottom of the 6th. Raymond Fuentes, the cousin of former Met and former Royal Carlos Beltran. In fact, they work out together in Puerto Rico in the offseason.
That was one of those where the extra netting stopped that ball from going into the stands.
Well, they brought the ballparks, the field, so much closer to the fans that I think that it's a good idea. Too many people can get hurt, don't pay attention. Even that close paying attention, you can get clobbered.
Well, it has seemed as though there have been more high-profile incidences of people getting hurt or close to getting seriously hurt in the stands. And I think that is because people do pay less attention than they used to. And you understand why. People have phones and there are a lot more distractions in the ballpark.
People text during games, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, occasionally happens that way. Is the slap the other way with that? Talking about anybody in particular?
Well, I would be if he was paying attention to it.
Captain Oblivious.
Yeah, look at that. Looks like me in the booth.
Fuentes goes down on strikes, but the ball gets away from Darno, and Fuentes arrives safely. And so the Royals have the leadoff man on in the 6th.
Again, let's see what Syndergaard can do now with the top of the order coming up. Slider in the dirt. That's a pass ball.
They called it a wild pitch, I believe.
No, it's got to be a pass ball.
They got to check that.
I mean, he wasn't crossed up. Didn't appear that way, did it?
No.
Is that a fastball?
Well, if he was crossed up, he would have went out there and talked to him.
How can you get crossed up with nobody on base?
Just,
it's a very good point.
Well, it's a strikeout, and it's either a wild pitch or a pass ball. Take your pick. But now the tying run comes to bat with Escobar, who tripled back in the 1st. And he grounds one down to right. Chance for 2. Walker with the turn. And it's dropped by Duda. And safe at first is Escobar.
Well, this should be a double play here. Watch David do the double pump on his glove, and that gets Walker right there at the double clutch. It's a wasted second. And look at the runner, enables the runner to get in on Walker.
Would have been awfully close had Duda to be able to pick this ball out of the dirt. Let's see.
One thing we do see, you see Mr. Walker, how quickly he can get rid of that baseball.
And with Fuentes right on top of him.
And by the way, folks, opening night, if you don't recall, the Mets turned 3 double plays.
Here's Moustakas with 1 out and 1 on. Another double play chance, although it's hit rather slowly. They get the 1, and Cabrera, the turn just missed. Well, that's one coming off the bat where you think no chance to turn 2, and the Mets came awfully close to turning it over.
They might challenge this. I thought he was out by the naked eye when I saw it happen.
Terry's on the top step here. Look at the quick pivot by Walker. I think he beat it, Ronnie.
Okay.
Let's see.
Rob Drake, the first base umpire, with the call.
Oh, it's close. I don't think Terry's going to challenge.
Okay.
So 1 out away from getting out of another leadoff runner.
And here's Lorenzo Cain, who has struck out and fouled out 0 for 2. The Royals have had 2 hits, a triple by Escobar in the 1st, a double by Morales in the 5th. Ball 1 to Cain. Here's that play at first.
What do you think, Keith? I think he's in. I thought he was in the air. Let's see. No.
Tie base goes to the runner?
Yes, I'll give it to the runner.
They didn't change that rule, did they?
Not yet. Cain slices one the other way for a base hit. Moustakas will go first to 3rd. And the Royals have the tying runs on base with Eric Hosmer coming up.
Well, the big out, too, here in Hosmer. So one guy you didn't want to have come up this inning.
Nice hitting going. Oh, inside outs. Fastball in, not in enough.
Keith, you talked about the themes in the game, first game on Sunday night, the double plays the Mets, and what the Royals did is they went to first to third all night long against Harvey and the Mets.
So here is Hosmer, who is struck out, grounded out. Syndergaard has handled his crises well tonight, has another one to deal with. And a low throw, and Duda able to corral it to keep Moustakas at third base.
Here it is again. And he's definitely safe. Good call. I would like to see Cabrera up a little more into left field. A little more to the left side of second base. Yeah, short. He's up the middle too much. Hosmer got a base hit, if you recall, off Harvey on a ground ball through the shortstop side of the field. You see Cabrera up the middle there.
Kane, the tying run at first, has had 28 stolen bases last year.
Can't just pitch Hosmer away. He's got a lot of power to left center. You have to be careful when you're throwing as hard as Noah does to first base, because you have the shadows working behind him, and then Lucas is in sunlight. Makes it difficult for him to see.
Well, against this Royals team that loves to run, you've got no choice but to keep a close watch on Kane.
And Syndergaard is not real quick home, too. He's someone you can steal off of.
He's running, and it's boxed by Darno, and Kane has the stolen base. And now the tying runs are in scoring position. Moustakas at third, Kane at second with 2 out. 2-0 to Hosmer. First base open. Kendrys Morales looming on deck. Ball 3.
Boy, it is loud in here.
Well, they haven't had a ton to cheer about today with the dominance of Syndergaard. But the Royals, who came from behind in the late innings 3 times against the Mets in the World Series, trying to come from behind against the Mets yet again. And he walked him. Bases loaded. First walk of the day for Syndergaard. And Dan Worthing's going to head out for a conversation before he takes on Morales, and the Mets bullpen springs quickly to work.
Well, I know that the book says you don't want to walk a go-ahead run or a tying run, but Morales is a very difficult out, but in an RBI situation where a base hit can hurt you, a base hit ties the ball game here. Hosmer is a better hitter than Morales. Morales is a power hitter, so I think that was their choice. They're both left-hand hitters.
You saw the countdown clock for the visit to the mound. The Mets have a left-hander and a right-hander, Jerry Blevins and Jim Henderson, up in the bullpen behind Syndergaard, who's about to throw his 90th pitch of the day. Morales hit one over Cespedes' head for a double leading off the 5th. Lined out to Cespedes' first time up, so he's had some of the best swings against Syndergaard today. Bases loaded, 2 out. He goes after the first pitch slider, 0-1.
Oh, wicked.
95-mile-an-hour slider.
Wicked down and in. Look at the location. That's not a strike.
Who throws a 95-mile-an-hour slider?
J.R. Richards one time, but not many others.
Syndergaard taking it to another level. And he gets ahead 0-2.
Back-to-back razor blades.
This is a case where these Mets young pitchers have pitched on this stage with 35, 40,000 people in the stands. It can only help them when they get into these situations.
See if he can get the put-out pitch here. Put him away pitch.
0-2.
He struck him out. Big strikeout for Noah Syndergaard. Third time today he's worked himself out of a king-size jam. And the Royals leave him loaded in the 6th inning.
Overmatched. Seventh inning in Kansas City. Mets with a 2-0 lead. Asdrubal Cabrera leads off against Danny Duffy, who starts his 2nd inning of relief. That was some man-child pitching from Noah Syndergaard in that last half inning.
You can still see he's standing up. It looks like Terry Collins gave him the handshake like that's the day for you, kid. But it's hard to take a guy out after he struck out a hitter on 3 sliders, one of them 95 miles an hour.
How many pitches, Gary?
92. Asdrubal pops one into shallow center. On comes Kane, and he gets there for the shoestring catch. One away. Well, Syndergaard began his day by giving up a leadoff triple to his party, the other part, Alcides Escobar, and then proceeded to strike out Moustakas and strike out Kane and get Hosmer looking. 3 straight strikeouts against a team that doesn't fan much to pin that runner at third.
He's not a man-child, Gare. That's Thor.
There is some thunder in that arm, that is for certain. Here's d'Arnaud fouling one back. And then after the Royals loaded the bases in the 6th inning, 3 sliders in a row. The 3rd one gets Kendrys Morales. And Syndergaard's work appears to be done for the day. 6 scoreless innings in his season debut. Royals were 3 for 7 Sunday night with runners in scoring position. 0 for 7 today.
A lot of it has to do with that long, tall Texan right there.
Now the question is, how will the Mets set up their bullpen in front of Jeurys Familia? They've got Jim Henderson, the first man up, and ready to go for the 7th.
Boy, you pitch after Syndergaard coming in throwing 93 miles an hour is going to look like batting practice.
Well, for Henderson, this is going to be one of those butterflies in the stomach kind of appearances. Guy who has worked his way back to the big leagues. He had a long struggle just to get there, and after some shoulder problems sidelined him for a couple of years. Henderson, who was the last man to make this team coming out of spring training, is going to get a big assignment in the 7th. And there's ball 4, and d'Arnaud's on with a 1-out walk. First base runner against Danny Duffy.
Uh-oh.
Is this our first call to the post?
No. It's back. You can't hear the sound here, though. That's what makes it special for us.
Juan Lagares is going to bat for Alejandro De Aza with the left-hander in the game, and then Lagares will be in for defense. So Lagares, who started the opener against Edison Volquez and went 1 for 3, gets the call here with 1 out and 1 on. One for 3 was nice. The throw to third base by Lagares, that was probably the most important thing we saw from him all night. After a year of watching him baby his arm because of elbow issues, the arm appears to be fully back.
Correct me. Did he have an operation to clean out the? No.
Just rest. For the second straight winter that he rested it, but unlike last spring when they didn't let him throw at all, this spring they let him air it out. And saw the result the other night.
This kid throws hard too.
He does throw
95 miles an hour from a lefty.
Got some gas.
Chris Young went the first 5 for Kansas City, gave up the Neil Walker home run. That's the difference in this game. Duffy's worked an inning and a third. And Lagares fouls one off. Well, after a couple of days off, the Mets are back in action Friday for their home opener at Citi Field. Our coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. with an extended pregame show. Jacob deGrom, we think, is going to start Friday night, although it has much more to do with the impending birth of his child than his availability. And Jared Eichhoff gets the start for the Phils. That's lined into center field, a base hit for Lagares. So Juan Lagares with a pinch hit single, and the Mets have 2 men on. That's the Mets' 4th hit of the afternoon.
Juan likes the ball belt high up. He does stay level. Very stiff, Juan. I like to see him get a little more relaxed with his swing, but he does stay level on that high ball.
Curtis Granderson gets a crack with 2 men on. Royals have Luke Hochevar up in the bullpen with the right-hand hitters coming up behind Granderson. This is probably Duffy's last batter. Is Hochevar, who pitched opening night. Darno at second, Lagares at first, and 1 out. And for some reason, Moustakas is in his third as though he's expecting Granderson to bunt. Why in the world would he be there with first and second and 1 out?
It's an interesting place to play, but he's played him there every single time he's been up.
But there's no way in the world that Curtis would be bunting in this spot. He swings through the fastball by Duffy, 1-1.
Well, the most important base runner for the Mets right now with 1 out is Lagares at first base. Hosmer's playing almost back on the grass. He's got to get a huge lead, and in this new game with the new initiatives, he's still got to take out the infielder if they try to attempt a double play.
As he goes straight at him. New rule at second base. You can't go wide of the bag, and you can't go past the bag, and you have to start your slide before the bag.
At some point you have to hug the bag
and stay there.
Right.
If you go too far, it could be judged interference. Anderson fouls off the fastball, 2-2. Curtis today 0 for 2. He's flied out, walked, and struck out. That's 2 runs and 4 hits. The Royals no runs and 3 hits. We're in the 7th. Shadows now past the mound, but a little streak of sunlight right at home plate filtering through the stands. 2-2. Struck him out with a high fastball. First strikeout for Duffy, and that's the last man he'll face.
High cheddar. Curtis just a little bit overmatched in that at bat right there. Struggled last year against left-handers. It's not his strong suit.
Ned Yost out to make the pitching change. He'll bring in Luke Hochevar. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. 2-0 Mets in the 7th. We'll be right back. .32-year-old Luke Hochevar takes over the pitching for Kansas City.
Well, outstanding numbers last season. Like everyone else in that Royals bullpen, he was a #1 pick of the Royals years back, the #1 in the nation. And arm injuries stalled his development, and then as a starter, he just didn't make it. Bad record. But they have a few guys in that bullpen who were starters before Wade Davis that have taken a liking to being in the bullpen.
Hochevar dominated the Mets in the World Series last year. He was in 4 of the 5 games, 5 scoreless innings. David Wright facing him with 2 out and 2 on. David 1 for 2 and a walk tonight, and he stole in 2 bases. He takes the breaking ball inside, 2-0. David walked in the first and stole second against Chris Young. He singled to right in the 5th, and again took liberties against the 6'10" Young.
Nice to see David come through here. Nice hitters count.
Facing the hard-throwing Hochevar, who started him off with 2 breaking balls. There's the fastball, and he was not ready for it. 2-1.
Outfield defense, center field and right, shading David to the opposite field, more than shading, and I agree 100%.
How about Lorenzo Cain? Is that as shallow as you can play against a guy like Wright?
Hits one to left center. He could run for days. Darno at second, Lagares at first with 2 down. The breaking ball, 2-2.
Sliders up, Ron.
David's front shoulder has not been able to stay closed on that breaking ball.
2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to right. And we'll do it again.
I lost that ball in the clouds. I didn't see it. I came back here and I lost it.
Okay, Lorenzo. The thing about David today on the fastball, he's been a little tardy on the fastball all game long.
Tough shadows.
Again, the 2-2. He just missed with a slider. Full count. Well, that'll send the runners on their way.
3-2 slider, Keith. Is that what you're thinking? Is he challenging?
I'm not sure. Ron, you're the pitcher, not me.
I'm going to go with the slider. I think that's the pitch. It's his strength.
Cespedes on deck. Runners go 3-2 to right, and the slider misses for ball 4, and they're loaded for Cespedes. So David Wright's on base for the 3rd time today. A single and 2 walks. That's 5 walks issued by Kansas City pitchers today. And now Cespedes gets a crack with the bases full.
Wind is just whipping out to left. Anything you get in the air and center just a bit will be out to left field.
Cespedes 3 for 7 with a home run against Hochevar in his career, and he's got the bases full with Darno, Lagares, and Wright with 2 out. Game-breaking situation for Cespedes with the Mets up 2-0 in the 7th. And taking all the way, a strike. See the numbers with the bases loaded. They are Tabler-esque.
Well, you're always in the driver's seat as a hitter when the bases are loaded. Most of the time.
Not all of them are able to take advantage, though. Chases the slider, and now Hochevar's ahead 0-2.
That's the pitch you wanted to make at David Wright.
Well, it was, but he also wanted, if you're Cespedes, you don't want it to be ready. You got that one strike that was a fastball down the middle. Now he's only going to see the sliders in the dirt.
Oh-2 coming, and he hits one in the air deep down the left field line. It's hooking. Foul. He had home run distance, just not home run vector.
That was going to be a bomb if that stayed fair. That was going to be a hanging slider bomb, and he's a little out in front, Ronnie. Cespedes. That's a ball last August, September, and that's off the glass back there, off that Commerce Bank.
So Hochevar gets another one. And this time Ioannis is able to lay off the slider.
Well, you see the home plate umpire, Sam Holbrook. His body moved as the ball came. Watch it.
Boy,
clearly a ball.
That's his best slider he's thrown there. That had the corner. Cespedes is toast.
Harris tried to pull it back into the strike zone, which is the best indication that
Yes.
he knew it wasn't a strike. One-two to Cespedes, and he flies one to shallow left center. Escobar calling all the way and stays with it to retire the side. And the Mets strand 3 in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in Kansas City. Let's go to the bullpen, up 2-0. That's the way 2015 ended. Mets trying to get a different tail end to this series back in Kansas City. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Lexus. The Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid go beyond utility. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. And by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the game is Pat Cauley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat at patcauley.com. Tonight it was 5 days that brought trades, tears, and redemption to Queens. Relive that crazy week in July that altered the course of the Mets season on 5 days in Flushing tonight after the postgame, only on SNY. Jim Henderson makes his Mets debut, looking to protect a 2-0 lead in the 7th.
You see his numbers in Colorado Springs. In 2013, he had 28 saves with the Milwaukee Brewers. He had surgery in 14 on his shoulder. He sat out that season, spent a year in AAA trying to get back to the big leagues, had a nice camp with the Mets, made the ball club out of spring training, and here he is as one of the setup men and most important men out of the bullpen.
Big, strong, tall guy, good, hard, sharp breaking ball. He earned the spot on this roster in the bullpen. He pitched outstanding in spring.
Guy who didn't make it to the big leagues till he was 29 years old, got his chance to be a closer in Milwaukee, saved 28 games in 2013 before the shoulder issues, and now back in the big leagues. Alex Gordon leads off in the 7th and goes after that first pitch fastball at 95 miles an hour. Yoenis Cespedes moves from center field to left field. Juan Lagares into center field. This is how the Mets rolled the last 2 months of the season and into the postseason last year, shoring up the defense with a lead.
Anderson, you're going to see a good overhand breaking ball and a fastball at 93 to 95 miles an hour. They had a couple of those reclamation guys who didn't come up till late. John Axford before him.
Ray Blevins is going to stay busy in the Mets bullpen. Anderson blows one by Gordon. 97 on that fastball, and it's 1-2.
He's been waiting 2 years to get back on a big league mound.
Addison Reed gets up alongside Blevins now. Reed figures to pitch the 8th inning if Henderson can successfully get through the 7th. 1-2. Up and away. 2-2 to Gordon. Gordon's been up twice, struck out both times against Syndergaard. Noah struck out 9 in 6 scoreless innings. He walked only 1. He allowed 3 hits. He was brilliant in his first start of the season. Now he needs the bullpen to get him 9 outs to make it stick. Not easy against this relentless Royals team. Last year in the World Series, Kansas City won 3 games in which they trailed in the 8th inning or later. No team in World Series history had ever done that before.
There's confidence in baseball, and there's belief, and belief is stronger than confidence that you're going to get it done. It doesn't matter what the score is.
2-2 from Henderson. Struck him out.
Wow.
High fastball from Jim Henderson. First batter he faces a Met. He strikes out Alex Gordon.
Hat trick for Gordon.
Gordon has not had a good day. He's been told, look at that, how late he is.
A little bit of run on that fastball, Keith, from Henderson.
Yep.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Salvador Perez, who's fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. And the slider in for a strike. So Henderson gets through the left-hand batter. Now he's got 2 right-hand hitters with Perez and Infante on deck. There is no left-handed bat in the Royals dugout. In fact, both teams go into this game with no left-handed bat on the bench. A little unusual. And he went around on the half swing 0-2.
It'll be an interesting choice because, you know, you have 2 left-handers in the middle of that lineup, 2 and 4, with Moustakas and Hosmer. So Blevins could play a part in this ball game.
Maybe pitch him in the 8th with Reed. In the air to right field, Granderson has to battle the sun, and he's got it lined up. 2 out. Closed captioning for Mets baseball brought to you by Sideline. So Henderson's dispatched the first two here in the bottom of the 7th. And now it's Omar Infante, who's been up twice and grounded out both times. Infante back as the regular second baseman after Ben Zobrist played there for most of the postseason. Infante was out with an oblique injury.
Right. That's why they went out and got Zobrist.
And, you know, Zobrist has moved on to the Cubs. Infante, who had a miserable season last year, back in that position. There are a couple of ways in which this Royals team has kind of taken a step backward. That was one. The other is Johnny Cueto going to the Giants as a free agent, and they signed Ian Kennedy to replace him.
Oh, there's a good slider. Finally got on top of one.
For a lot of dollars, too.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Cueto was out of their price range. Kennedy was within their price range, but did they get enough for their $70 million? That remains to be seen.
Just like the Mets are waiting for Dilson Herrera, the Royals are waiting for Raul Mondesi Jr. at some point.
0-2 coming. Pop foul.
Funny, I'm having a hard time seeing the ball off
I
the bat
have
up
not.
here.
Foul balls coming back at us. I have not picked them up.
It's an odd time of day to start a game. It was 3 o'clock local. It's 5:35 local now. And shadows have been an issue for much of the day for outfielders and broadcasters alike. And Henderson dispatches Infante. A very impressive inning for Jim Henderson in his Mets debut. 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. Still 2-0. By Dylan Betances was crucial in that game, and the Astros win. Great second baseman for the Royals, Frank White. What a terrific player he was.
Boy, he could turn it too.
He's a great guy too.
He and Willie Randolph were the opposing second basemen for those great Yankee Royals battles back in the 70s.
I played against Frank in AAA.
Last night we were here and they introduced a lot of the older Kansas City Royals. We saw Freddie Patek, of course George Bratt, John Mayberry Sr.
Kelvin Herrera on to pitch the 8th inning. Lucas Duda leads off. Herrera worked in the opener, gave up a double to Conforto in a scoreless 7th inning. Duda 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 7 to start the season. Duda, Walker, and Conforto, 3 left-handed bats to face Herrera.
This kid's a little right-hander that can throw 100 at times. Just nasty stuff.
That's drilled to right field toward the line, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Cut off nicely by Fuentes. But Duda gets a breaking ball to hit, and he's got a leadoff single.
Slider. Too much plate. Little down, like almost like a down curveball. 12-6 on your dial. Right into Lucas's wheelhouse, but out in front. If he stayed back at ball, gonna hit it up there in the seats.
So now Walker is accounted for the only 2 runs of this game. Homered into the seats in right field back in the 4th inning. And Herrera, who did not look his sharpest on Sunday night, not looking sharp in his first several pitches in this game.
Well, he has had a lot of work the last 3 seasons.
And Walker hits one hard to right, and that'll fall in for a base hit. So back-to-back base hits for Duda and Walker to start the Mets' 8th inning. Walker's second hit of the day.
Ripped. Typical left-hand hitter. Likes that ball down. Beautiful.
Almost looked like a changeup, didn't it? There from Herrera.
Late sink, didn't it? Okay, Mr. Conforto has a chance to blow up in this game.
Michael's gone 0 for 3 today. He was robbed back in the 2nd inning on a great play by Lorenzo Cain. We asked our Verizon trivia question, who was the last Met before Michael Conforto to reach base 4 times on opening day, and it was
the X-Man,
Xavier Nady. In his only year with the Mets in 06.
Not even a full year, right?
Got traded at the deadline for Roberto Hernandez and Oliver Perez.
He's one of my favorite players. I wish he could have stayed around for a while.
That trade came about because of the
Duana
taxi,
Sanchez.
Duana Sanchez
taxi
got
ride
hurt.
in Miami.
Looking for some food late at night. Off down the left field line. Gordon will give it a look, but that winds up in the crowd. And it's 0-2 to Conforto. The Mets are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight. The Royals are 0 for 7.
2-0 Wago, Gare. Yeah. Only 9 hits in this game.
Well, Syndergaard was front and center for the first 6 innings. Henderson tacking on a very nice 7th. And Walker with the big hit. There's a good off-speed pitch by Herrera to strike out Conforto for the first out. It's that changeup you were talking about.
It's a good one. He's got 3 pitches, this young man. 95 plus, slider, and that changeup running away.
So 1 out. Now is Drupal Cabrera, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Herrera's 7 career at bats against Kelvin Herrera, 1 for 7 with a home run. It used to be Kelvin Herrera,
yes,
then he opted to go with the more Americanized pronunciation. And he moves Cabrera back with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Personally enjoy the Kelvin better than the Kelvin. That's how it goes.
I think the deal is when you have enough people mispronounce your name,
Okay.
get some consistency going. Ball's behind Cabrera, 2-0.
Herrera looks like one of those guys, Ronnie, that puts a lot of energy into every pitch.
Yeah. I mean, he's a little guy. Reminds me a little bit of Ramos for the Marlins. Little guy who can throw hard.
Only 5'10".
He'd love to be 5'10". Give me the ruler.
Well, that's what he's listed at. I mean, Marcus Stroman is listed at 5'8". What's he? Maybe 5'6".
Again, another ruler.
He's amazing.
How tall was Napoleon?
I don't know. It's hard to pitch with one hand in your vest.
Oh boy.
Blowing it by Cabrera, and it's 2-2. Well, Kelvin Herrera was the setup man for Greg Holland. Holland underwent Tommy John surgery as a free agent, is no longer with the Royals, but was here today to get his World Series ring.
That was a nice thing they did.
Now he's the setup man for Wade Davis. And Cabrera overmatched. Back-to-back strikeouts for Herrera, and there are 2 men down.
Well, that's an at-bat if you're a hitter you want to forget about. This was a complete overmatch.
It's interesting when they handed out the rings today. Royals were nice enough to acknowledge the Mets who were not on the bench, and the entire crowd gave them a hand for being the National League champions.
It was very nice. It was very
Midwest.
It was very sweet Midwestern, and I'm not sure that a similar request of the same in New York would have been greeted the same way.
Forget about it.
Well, they always say the Midwest is 10 years behind the coast. In this case, it's a good thing.
Travis d'Arnaud 0 for 2 and a walk today. It's got back-to-back hits from Duda and Walker to start the inning, but Herrera responding with back-to-back strikeouts.
Like d'Arnaud against some of the toughest hitters. Look at that bullpen, lowest in the American League, with that great ERA. d'Arnaud seems to turn it up a notch when he faces really difficult pitchers.
And Travis hits one toward the middle of the diamond. Infante scoots over, and they get the force to end the inning. Mets raised a threat, but could not add to their lead. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th, with the Mets still up 2-0. It's Geico Sports Night on SNY. Big day in Major League Baseball. The Yukon women go for yet another national championship, and the Rangers and Islanders getting down to the nub in the NHL season. Well, they call Kansas City the City of Fountains, and they have a fountain here at the ballpark, which on a windy day, if you're in the wrong spot, can get you awfully wet.
It gets awful hot here too, and humid, just like St. Louis. I'm sure that's refreshing in July and August.
Yeah.
Dog days.
Addison Reed will pitch the 8th inning for New York.
Well, I think Addison's got to get off to a good start. He's going to be the setup man for Familia.
Raymond Fuentes leads off and slaps one toward short. Cabrera circles in on it and throws out the speedy Fuentes. One pitch and one out for Reed.
Cabrera can do that very well. He has the ability to charge and throw on the run off the wrong foot accurately.
There's been so much talk about the things that Cabrera can't do defensively. Doesn't have the best range in the world, but you hit a ball at him.
Yeah.
Within his range,
he makes all the
very
plays.
sure-handed.
And what I like, Gary, is that he's not a fancy Dan. He gets in front of the ball, uses two hands.
It was Alcides Escobar who led off the first inning with a triple against Noah Syndergaard, at which point Thor pounced into action, striking out the next 3 hitters and setting the tone for the day. Syndergaard went the first 6, Henderson a 1-2-3 7th, and now Reed in the 8th. And Escobar, bluffing a bunt, takes a strike, 1-1. Gary Blevins staying busy in the Mets bullpen, and so is that Steven Matz? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Matz was going to be the long man today if Syndergaard struggled early, so I guess he's getting his work in now. Steven is scheduled to start for the Mets. Well, and right now on Monday, although he could conceivably get a start Friday if the DeGrom baby situation dictates. Right now, DeGrom is the scheduled starter for Friday. Jacob is here in Kansas City, still waiting. And again, Escobar showing bunt.
It's not a bad play. You're down a run. He's got some speed. David's back. Duda's back. Almost willing him to try to bunt. It's a good play.
Well, you certainly don't want to walk him in a 2-0 game with Stockus and Kane next. And he lifts one out to right. Granderson having trouble finding it, and now he locates it. And he puts it away. The initial reaction of Granderson was a bit of panic, but he stayed with it.
It was good hustle, though, by Lagares to get over there just in case he needed some help.
It has been a sunshiny day with shadows creating problems all afternoon.
Well, before the game today in Terry Collins' office, we were talking, Gary and I and Ron, and Terry said he's got to get Familia in the game today, and it looks like it's going to be set up for him, hopefully, to get Familia in for a safe situation.
Certainly the plan. Stockus 0 for 3, hasn't had the ball out of the infield. Lorenzo Cain would be next.
He's going to pitch no matter what with the 2 days off, so it doesn't hurt to score 2 or 3 points in your own top of the ninth.
Stockus hits it hard, but right at Cabrera. Takes his time. Side retired. Impressive inning for Addison Reed, just like Henderson before. He gets him out 1-2-3. We go to the ninth. Mets up 2-0. All right, Gary, now Joaquin Soria, who pitched on opening day and didn't pitch very well, comes out to pitch the top of the ninth and throws a strike to Juan Lagares.
Soria was with Detroit and Pittsburgh last year, 24 saves and 30 appearances. Some of his best seasons were here when he was a closer. He's been much traveled since then, but now back with a 3-year contract.
Started his career with the Royals, saved as many as 43 games back in 2010, and has bounced around since Texas, Detroit, Pittsburgh, and now back with the Royals at age 31. Lagares had a hit against Soria on Sunday night. He pops this one up behind first base, and Hosmer takes charge of it, 1 out. So back to the top of the batting order, and Curtis Granderson, who's 0 for 3 and a walk today. The only 2 runs of this game came in the 4th inning, a walk to Cespedes, and then with 1 out, Neil Walker pulled a home run down the right field line. His first home run as a Met, the Mets' first home run of the season. And Noah Syndergaard and the bullpen have made it stand up. Curveball from Soria, 68 miles an hour.
Little Ephus.
Right. Off the fist down the line and just foul. He's got a handle shot out of that. There's your Verizon Mets box score. A little different look this year. I like this. It's like a real box score. That's outstanding.
Very bright, cheerful.
And the old box score.
Does Neil's first name not get a capital N? He doesn't rate the capital yet.
Didn't the old box scores have LOB on it too, left on base?
They used to have putouts and assists.
Yeah, that's right.
In the old box score. But I like that batting average at the end of it. Off speed pitch gets Granderson. 3rd time Curtis has struck out today, and there are 2 out.
Got a good sinking changeup, doesn't he?
When he first did all of his great work at Kansas City, would you say 43 saves 1 year? He could throw hard.
Lost his velocity Lost his velocity for a while. Got it back a little bit last year. And essentially, he's taking the spot of Greg Holland in that bullpen. The roles rolled around a little bit. Here's Wright, who's been on base 3 times today. Nice antidote for David after a very rough opening night. He's walked twice, had a base hit, stolen 2 bases. In the bottom of the 9th, the Royals will have 3, 4, and 5 in the order coming up. Kane, Hosmer, and Morales against Jeurys Familia, who is loosening in the Mets bullpen. This will be a place where Familia will really want to get his first save of the year after getting tagged with 3 blown saves against the Royals in the World Series. Most notably against his ledger, the home run he gave up to Alex Gordon in the 9th inning of Game 1.
If he goes 1, 2, 3, he won't have to face that Mr. Gordon.
Slider to the backstop, 2-1. Soria paints the outside corner, and it's 2-2. About a few chances to tack onto their lead. They left the bases loaded in the 7th, got the first 2 men on the 8th. But Walker's 2-run homer has been it. And the curveball bends inside, sending David Dowling 3-2.
I've seen a breaking ball like that since El Duque.
One of the Hernandez, isn't it? 3-2 coming, and he struck him out with a fastball. So Soria with a little bit of this and a little bit of that works a 1-2-3 top of the 9th. Now it's Familia to try and nail down the Mets' first victory of the season. The line score peppered with goose eggs, but for Neil Walker's 2-run homer in the top of the 4th. And now Jerry's Familia, who tied a club record with 43 saves last year, will try and make it stand up.
Well, the Mets have struck out 11 Kansas City Royals today, and Familia in with, after that magical year he had last year. Postseason against the Royals, not so much.
5 more saves in the postseason, but not against Kansas City. And so it's back to the mound against the Royals for Familia to take on Kane, Hosmer, and Morales, and if anybody gets on, Alex Gordon. Kane had a base hit to right field and stole a base in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3 on the day. The Royals have had just 3 hits all afternoon. Breaking ball low and away for ball 1. Noah Syndergaard went 6, no runs, 3 hits, a walk, 9 strikeouts. Jim Henderson and Addison Reed each turned in a perfect inning in relief.
Just going to watch to see here, Keith. Does he have his good sinking fastball? We didn't see it in spring training.
Nope. He did not have a good spring. There you go. There's a good one.
96 from Familia on that first fastball. And he throws one by Kane, and it's 1-2. What a difference a year makes. So look at that high fastball. Kane couldn't catch up. Last year at this time, Familia figured he'd be the setup man for Henry Mejia. 365 days later, he's one of the top closers in the game. 1-2. A little bit high. 2-2 to Kane. It's funny, isn't it? 2-0 lead. 9th inning. Kane leading off. Harvey doesn't beg back into the game. This is what Familia would have faced in Game 5 against the Royals.
Good call. Wow.
2-2. He misses with the slider, full count. Of course, Kane famously walked on a 3-2 slider against Harvey, and Hosmer doubled, and the wheels came off.
Have to throw a fastball, have to throw a strike. You're winning by 2 runs. You can't hit a 2-run homer. Just let him hit it. It's a big ballpark. Let Lagares catch it in center field.
Three-two coming. Struck him out. There's the nasty sinker from Familia, and he fans Kane for the first out of the 9th.
Got a little help there. That's the nasty sinker. Swung at a bad one. There was ball 4, but that's just a lot of it has to do with that nasty bite.
Sinker ballers have to live on the knees because that's where they get their late sinking break.
So Familia has the first out in the bottom of the 9th. Now it's Hosmer, who's 0 for 2 and a walk today. Bounces that sinker in.
12 Kansas City strikeouts this game. It is something that is not characteristic of this squad.
Syndergaard had the first 9 of them. 2 for Henderson, now 1 for Familia. Hosmer bounces one for Walker.
Knocks it down. Does he have time? He does. 2 out.
What a nice play that was. Tough hop.
Stayed in front. No matador here. Stay in front. You got a tough hop. Kept the ball in front. Picks it up, makes the play.
And no panic. He knew exactly how much time he had.
You know
and made the play.
You know how hard it was hit.
So now the Royals are down to their final out. Kendrys Morales, the batter. 1 for 3, a double back in the 5th. And he fouls back the first pitch fastball. 8 up and 8 down for the Mets bullpen. Henderson, Reed, and Familia. Mets are now going to shift their infield, send David Wright over to the right side against Morales with 1 strike on him. Figuring he's not going to try and bunt for a hit here. Cabrera alone on the left side. Alex Gordon on deck.
Little tapper. Darno out to get it. And the ball game is over. The Mets get their first victory of the season with brilliant pitching. Syndergaard in the bullpen, retiring the last 10 Royals. And the Mets get a split of their opening series with Kansas City. Neil Walker counting for the offense. And it's a 2-0 Met win. And they'll go home 1-1 on the season.
Well, these are the kind of Met wins you're going to see more often than not. Just outstanding starting pitching from Syndergaard today, who was at his best with 9 strikeouts. The bullpen was flawless with 3 more and 12 strikeouts against this Kansas City Royals. Not a lot of offense, Keith, but Neil Walker made his appearance as a Met.
Well, Walker, of course, with the first home run of the season, first home run as a Met. It's a game winner, 2-run shot, and all you Met fans at home, see, take it in. Tomorrow's another day. Get a good night's sleep tonight.
Not only did he hit the 2-run homer, but that play he made in the 9th inning, if he doesn't make it, might be a whole different story. There's your Verizon game summary. Syndergaard pitched himself out of a few jams, but he was dominant, throwing 99 with many of his fastballs, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. Walker with the home run to get the Mets over the top. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Katz Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.com/KIWH. This win brings the contribution so far this season to $2,500. Well, Familia finally notches a save against Kansas City, and the Mets get even. 2-0 final. We'll be back with more from Kansas City in just a moment.